I'm Lauren from Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., a podcast member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the one you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
This is it. The part of your week where you get to put your headphones on, relax, and listen to a bunch of geeks geek out about geeky things. They're passionate.
I'm an IT guy. You should never delete. Most of the time you delete, you regret deleting.
They rage.
You guys are being like hypersensitive with your point to be offended. Oh, he deleted his Twitter account. Oh, I'm mad. What?
And sometimes they're even funny.
Tell your wife that I said hello again and sorry I couldn't be there tonight.
That's okay. Your wife says hi too.
Let me emphasize that. Sometimes. Welcome to the GonnaGeek.com podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 118 of the GonnaGeek.com podcast. We are here live on Monday at GonnaGeek.com/live, where you can find all of the geeky Gonna Geek live content. Lots of shows happening through the week, so I encourage you to go to GonnaGeek.com/live and check out the calendar. My name is Stephen Johninger, and with me today is once again full crew. We've got Chris Farrell. For real?
I have a problem. I've watched Star Wars way too much.
Also have Stargate Pioneer.
I'm director of SNESA, director of Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., and director of, I don't know, Team Argus. Yay!
And we also have the one and only JS. What's going on, JS?
I have a sickness. I require more cowbell.
Oh, the cowbell. That is a very, very modern reference, JS.
Yes, that's getting pretty old, isn't it?
How's it going, my fellow Canadian with a new government?
It's going good. It's going good. Some Guild Wars 2 expansion released last week. Quite happy. Putting in some time on that.
Nice.
Yeah.
How's everybody else's week going, Chris and Stargate Pioneer?
I got a case of the Mondays.
I remember when we talked about Mondays, some wise person said, I don't know about Mondays. I feel like Mondays is a bad day because it's the start of the work week. And everybody else was like, no, it should be fine.
I don't know. I'm happy when I get out of work.
We got Star Wars trailer last Monday. This week we got a guest on the podcast. This is great, guys.
You seem a little bit too hyper there. You're too much of a happy person. You're definitely not the leader of SNES.
It's the
He's
caffeine.
had too much candy. Oh, caffeine.
But see, you guys forgot. This is Halloween week. Happy Halloween, guys.
No. Take off that mask. You're
Ben
not
Affleck.
Batman.
I totally stole that from Grayson. Thank you, Grayson. Thank you.
You don't have the chin to be Ben Affleck.
I don't have the chin to be Ben Affleck, but I have the chin to be George Clooney. Thank you very much.
You have nothing in common with George Clooney.
I don't. That's very true.
He does. They both take poops.
Okay, fair enough. Good job, JS. On
Okay.
that note, let's go ahead and roll into the news. Shall we do that?
News
time.
Sounds where I like some sleazy jazz bar.
Alrighty, news. Let's go ahead and start off with the one and only rocket scientist friend, Chris Farrell.
Why are you trying to do these weird swerves now? It confuses
You're
me.
assuming that he's my friend.
He's my sworn... SP is my sworn enemy, Steven. We just combine our powers for good occasionally.
That's true. That's true.
So I demand...
Like pollution, Captain Planet.
Yes, I demand a new introduction that better states that.
Fine, then. Alrighty. Guy that doesn't like SP. Chris, what do you got going on?
Be excited about it, damn it.
Not happening. Go ahead.
So there was an announcement that came out. J.K. Rowling is doing yet another installment to Harry Potter. The 8th installment, however, will be a play in London's West End. It's called Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2. It takes place 19 years after the last Harry Potter book and centers around Harry and his youngest son, Albus Severus. And I'm just kind of intrigued that she's continuing the story, because for a while she'd been saying, I don't know, I think I'm kind of done with it. And then she did the... what was the name of the book? It was all about the different animals and stuff in the Harry Potter world. I think that kind of wet the whistle. So now we're getting a play that is the continuation.
Well, I want you to guess how many combined Harry Potter books and movies I have watched in their entirety.
0.
Absolutely correct.
Wow, you suck. The books are really good too.
Yeah. It was great. So I think the reason why she's doing this is because she has to pay all her fines for pissing off her neighbors for overgrowing her trees and causing massive traffic jams. I think that's exactly why we're getting this.
I think Suncast might be more right. It's a cash grab.
It's a cash grab.
That's my point.
I agree.
Sure, it's a cash grab.
I don't know. I think it's really interesting. Yeah, exactly. It's a really interesting way to continue the story. Not do another book, but do a live show, like a live theater production. And some of the interviews have said the way we're telling this story, I think it's going to be really good for theater and things like that. They're saying basically it makes sense to do this as a production versus a book. So I'm really curious what they're going to do. I want to say it starts in 2016. I can't remember the launch date.
Are they doing it across the globe, or are they doing it just...
right now, it's just in the UK, it would appear.
Yeah, it's just
in across the pond. Tickets go on sale on Wednesday, October 28th, as we record this. So 2 days from now, online.
That's good.
There's already a website and stuff.
Instantaneously, man.
It probably will. So if you want to find out more about that, go check out the show notes, because I'm sure Steven will provide the link for all the information on the 8th Harry Potter installment.
I will definitely.
That Steven won't watch or read, because he's a heathen.
I am. Besides, nobody likes Harry Potter.
What?
Everybody likes Harry Potter, man.
Hermione got hot. Let's just leave it at that.
Are you trying to just make me walk off the show today, Steven? Such nonsense.
That's my goal every podcast.
Well, it's very simple for me. If I wanted you to walk off the show, there is one thing that I can say to make you walk off the show.
No, don't say it.
Banana
don't say it.
Peel pubic hair.
Dr. JS to the rescue.
So I'm not going to walk away because I'm intrigued as to why he even thought of that combination.
All right, well, SP, what do you got going on for your news point?
Well, this isn't exactly news right this week, but a couple of weeks ago, we haven't gotten to it yet because we've had other things to discuss, but astronomers looking at the Kepler data, and Kepler is that space telescope out there that is looking for foreign interstellar life, really, and looking at for habitable planets, stuff like that in the Goldilocks zone. And they're doing it via the blink method, a few other methods. Well, they ran into something really weird back in 2011. And they were looking at star KIC 846285-2, and they noticed that it was always obscured. There was always something that was making it not fully lit or whatever. And they were like, what's going on there? So the bottom line is they really don't know. This place is about 1,480 light years away, so about 1,500 light years away. But one of the interesting theories, as postured by somebody that's looked at the data, Tabitha, I'm going to get her name wrong. Tabitha Balyard. I'm not even going to try it. SP never can get a name right. Never. Anyway, she's a scientist. She's looked at this, or astronomist. She's looked at this, and she said that it could be one of the many possibilities. It could be a Dyson Sphere.
Yes, baby.
I love the vacuums. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
He's trying hard to make us all walk off tonight, isn't he?
So hard. But no, this is exciting. I heard about this, and actually I was surprised you didn't bring it up last week.
Well, we were talking about Orion last week. That was cool.
I know. But I seriously, I heard about it a while ago, and it's just such a Such an interesting topic, and I believe SNASA should know all about it.
Yeah, but she showed up. The math works out. She did the whole math and showed all her calculations and stuff like that. It's pretty badass.
Yeah, Tabitha Boyajian is her name, by the way.
Yeah, she's Armenian.
And so, SP, for those not familiar with the Dyson Ultra Vacuum Cleaner, what is a Dyson Sphere?
Go watch Star Trek.
So one of the postulations is, as the society grows, its need for energy just increases exponentially. And so there was a scientist named Dyson. I think it was in the 20s. I can't remember exactly when it was off the top of my head, but it was made famous to us geeks through the Next Generation, in which they showed literally this man-made metal sphere around a star made specifically to collect all the energy from it. So one of the postulations of this debris around this star is that it is a sign of civilization trying to do just that, trying to collect the energy from different points around their solar system to enable their society. And if they're only 1,500 years away or 1,500 light years away, that means it's within the conceivably generational spaceship trip. So
let's be honest. If they can build a Dyson Sphere, they can get here, no problem.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Hence why we have Velcro.
And Tang.
That's the Vulcans, man. That's a Vulcan
and
thing.
freeze-dried ice cream. Don't forget that.
Oh, that's right. The freeze-dried ice cream. But no, I think this is cool, and I as hopeful as some of us are, I can't wait to find out what it actually is.
Well, you'll never find out.
It'll be years before it comes out. Yeah, there's going to be an intense observation. Yeah. Well, remember the James Webb Space Telescope is set to go up in a few years on the far side of the moon, and that's going to have a heck of a big resolution. It's going to have 17 giant mirrors. It's going to be the biggest space thing that we've ever thrown out there. So it's got a chance at seeing it.
I know.
You mean that and the base that's on the other side, right?
I don't want to talk about the secret base on the other side of the moon. I want to talk about this weird Dyson Sphere on the other side of the universe.
And the Hubble telescope, because I know how much you love that. So there you go. There you go. I will make him walk away. I will make him walk away.
If you get me on ATGN, that will be what I want to rant about on Don't Get Me Started.
Or Super Dick Mode.
No, that's true. That's true. Moving to the last news point, though, this is a little more on our planet and a little more useful to you. Guess what? Mastercard has announced that they are trying to continue the evolution of payments. Now, for a long time, we've been like, let's just tappity tap, don't talk back about our credit cards and all sorts of other crazy ways to pay with your phone and other insane methods that are so much easier than, swiping your card. What they've decided to do is they are working with several manufacturers to develop, touchless payment in unique products. So why people think this is handy is because it's less for you to carry around, obviously. So I think there's a watch manufacturer. They're working, I believe, with GM to put it into your key fob. There's a third one as well that I actually don't recall, but several different manufacturers. They're trying to come out with some products that you will be able to put your payment information into them. And I think that this is a really great idea because we all have back pain from carrying around wallets. So why not just tie it to my keys?
It's nothing new. I mean, Exxon did this years ago. They had their Smart Pass or whatever that was just like an NFC card or a keychain fob that you would tap up against their gas pump. And it would be like, okay, here's your credit card information, charge everything to that. What the hell, I think I was in high school when that came out.
Yeah, Esso has that too.
Yeah, Exxon and Esso are the same thing. So,
okay.
I mean, it's nothing new. It's just there's a renewed interest in contactless payment and like credential-based payment since everyone's like, hey, I can use my cell phone or my Apple Watch and things like that now. So they're cashing in on that. The problem is, I think that, and this is weird for me to say because I normally wouldn't say it, I think the cell phone folks have more of an advantage here because people most always have their cell phone on them. It's going to be easy for them just to pull out their phone and be like, tap, as long as it supports it.
One of the things that...
I was going to say it's very, very, very hard to get a phone that you can pay with in Canada. There's I don't know what the regulation is, but it seems to be in the hands of the banks. So it's actually the bank that has to approve it, and you have to get a SIM card, a special SIM card. I've been looking into it. It's pretty horrible.
Yeah, but I think what's interesting about it though is it's going beyond phones, right? Like I think that's a neat idea because yes, I often have my phone on me, but there are times that I don't have my phone on me, and I think there's people who would rather not have it tied to the phone for reasons that Mr. Farrell, I know that you share concerns with about cars being taken over remotely. They're hackers.
If somebody steals your card, they also steal your bank account now? Right.
So,
that doesn't sound right.
So the security that goes into a lot of this contactless payment, I tend to trust a lot more than just a card that I keep on my keychain and swipe at the grocery store. Because, for instance, I use Android Pay right now. It requires a fingerprint swipe, but the data exchanged between my phone and that terminal is a secure encrypted token that doesn't actually link back to my credit card. It links back to some intermediary account that Google has or something like that. So my card is never exposed in this transaction. That's what is more safe. Whereas my guess is what happens with like the Exxon little smart pass and some of these other things is it's literally your credit card information contained in like an NFC chip or something like that. So you pop it up and it goes, poop, here's all your stuff and charges. So I tend to trust more of what they're doing with the cell phone stuff because there's more security involved in that, A, and B, they've had to work with the banks to get the requirements in place to launch this. JS is right. He talked about they needed the banks on board. I know that both Apple Pay and Android Pay had to work with banks, and I got emails from my bank. They said, hey, we're live on Android Pay. Hey, we're live on Apple Pay. This is good stuff. We've got everything ironed out. So there's a lot of stuff to do.
Hey, I don't have an American credit card. Do you mind just giving me your number so I could try out the contactless payment?
Yeah, it's 123-321-GOTOHELL.
Okay, got it. Suncast in the chat, by the way, asks when he's going to be able to have his payment information in his fingers. And you should know. I think you're actually from the future, Suncast. I believe you are from the future.
So it depends on the model you want to use, actually.
He's John Teeter. He's the real John Teeter.
As much as I am a Canadian who probably will never see this technology as we are still, as JS mentioned, so far behind in the phone, I still think this is really neat. And I think that this is a great idea. And I think the more places you can store your payment, the more options, the better. I don't think you should store all of your payment in all of your places. It's a bad idea, but
it's great for all those people that are going to rob you. I mean, I guess the real question is when MasterCard rolls this out, is there a PIN number or something associated with this contactless payment so that my kid can't take my key fob and go and buy a bunch of stuff at the store?
That falls apart. I've heard that argument falls apart because up until like 3 or 4 years ago, you didn't have the pin tied, and my son could have gone and taken my wallet. So,
but it's a little harder to swipe a credit card and sign off on that than it is to literally take a keychain and tap it against a contactless sensor and walk away. There's
one really big problem, and I know this because we process cards. If it's tapped, you can get away with it. But if it's punched in and the code's punched in, it can't be contested.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And the other thing you've got to consider is you see a lot of these folks that are selling like the aluminum wallets that are supposed to be RFID shielding. That's going to become more of a pressing need, actually. We kind of laugh and go, conspiracy theorists. But if everyone's carrying around like contactless cards in their wallet or on their phone or on their keychain so they can just tap it on something and walk away without having to do a PIN number, then there is a lot of potential that someone could just skim that information by walking by passively. I mean, for instance...
So I was going to say, I don't know how it is in the States, but in Canada, your credit card, technically, it might have changed also, but you are covered. You're $50. You can only be liable for $50 if you didn't make that purchase. And I think now they fully refund you or something like that.
It depends on your bank, because in my instance, my bank has my cell phone number, obviously, and they're real good about reporting stuff. I got a text message from them one time. It's like, did you charge $1.67 at this travel agency in the UK? And it had like all the address information. I was like, no. And I responded back and they said, please contact us on our number. Your credit card has been compromised. We're shutting it down. So I called them, and literally within minutes of it happening, I got on the phone with them and they said, yep, everything's taken care of. Replacements in the mail. You're not liable for any of the charges that would have occurred or any future charges someone might try. So it just really depends on your bank.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. But here in Canada, there's a lot of laws against that. Like, for example, if your debit card gets, and I don't know if you guys have debit cards or not, but in Canada, the bank, it's considered bank robbery. So you're fully covered. The bank has to give you all of your money back.
Mhm.
Obviously, they'll try
We can
to do
use
an
this, JS. Let's talk after.
All right.
Oh, God.
That is liability right there, my friend.
So, NSA, if you're recording this right now, I have nothing to do with this conversation they're about to have. Thank you.
You know for a fact the NSA is recording this conversation.
Especially because I'm about to say it a third time. NSA. There you go. 3 times. There's your lucky number. So
I'm about to go watch Supergirl afterwards.
Let's just make sure we say all the keywords like Baraka, Obama.
Oh, no. But that's going to go ahead and bring us towards the end of the news. Unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about? No? All right. Good. Well, let's go ahead and move into our next segment. Alrighty. This week, we are in luck. We have a special treat. That's right. Last week, Chris teased it at the end of the podcast. We have a brand new entrant into the Gonna Geek network. And we have one of the co-hosts there, Peter, joining us today from the Audibly Exquisite Podcast. Peter, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. Yourself?
Good. Thank you very much for joining us. It's awesome to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to be had.
Now, for those folks who may not be familiar with your podcast, let's start off with the basics. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your podcast?
I'm a graphic designer, writer, lover of podcasts. Let's see. Right now, my Twitter bio, it says I'm a very manly Muppet, so I got that going for me. Just like a jack of all trades, I would assume, if we go with terminology like that. Kind of. So, yeah.
And how did you get into podcasting?
I've been a fan of podcasting for, I want to say, like, roughly the past 9 to 10 years, give or take. Like, discovering different shows, like the infancy of podcasting, especially, back in the day. And also, I'm just like a big fan of, radio. So, it's like podcasting is the best of both worlds. You're able to, have the ability to have so much, content available for free at your fingertips. Like, for example, the Gonna Geek Network show, yourself, the Starlings podcast, in regards to Arrow and stuff like that. Just like really cool stuff that you can actually, be able to listen to just for free online. And it's really cool,
That's awesome.
I love it. Even with satellite radio, right, in your car, you don't necessarily get the diversity of the niche markets that you really want. Like if you're interested in geeky stuff, if you're interested in specific fitness stuff or tech stuff or whatever, you don't really get that on demand on satellite radio in your car. So that's what makes podcasts so great.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I mean, like, with the reinvention of like podcasting, especially even like the past, 5 years with stuff like NPR Serial, like that's like the equivalent of like, what's it called? Like True Detective or something that you can be able to, check out every week for free, or at least, for the 12, episodes they did it for. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. I look back and JS and I did a comic book podcast for a long time, and we had tons of fun, tons of arguments, and without a podcast, where would we really have had the amount of in-depth conversation on comic book talk than than really there. And it was great to have all the interaction with fans and things like that. And I've run forums and stuff like that over the years, but it's different. It's a different interaction that you get doing a podcast than you do just on a message board or something like that.
Exactly. And, just the whole spontaneity of conversation in general, through a podcast, like, you can hop from one subject to another, and it's really cool that you can be able to do that, like, for example, like Mike and I, like, we'll have a conversation on the show. Like, he absolutely adored the show Constantine. And, I can, like, go, okay, bring up a point about, like, let's say, how close, like, it was to the show Doctor Who. From there, we go into Doctor Who conversation. Then we go into, like, maybe a conversation about Community with, Constable Spacetime or whatever, stuff like that. So
Inspector Spacetime.
There we go. Thank you. I couldn't figure that one out.
Oh, I love that show. I have an unhealthy addiction to it.
I've been big into Dan Harmon stuff lately. Like I just finished binge watching Rick and Morty season 2, and
oh, nice.
Yeah.
That is such
That's
a cool
awesome.
thing. A friend of the network, Ferris, turned me on to it. I was like, oh, I need to. Where do you get it? I need to find all the content.
It's on Netflix, isn't it? Or maybe it's just Netflix Canada.
But Peter, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about what your podcast is about? That was horribly worded.
I'm going to go with the little rap that I do pretty much every single episode. Audibly Exquisite is your one-stop source for all things geek culture, be it movie, television, video games, comic books, you name it. And this is where Mike says, we're going to cover it. So it's a little bit of like tandem offense. So, we got that going for us.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And yeah, you did that exactly as you do on all the other episodes. So I like that.
It's like a nervous switch now for me.
Yeah, eventually all of these things just become like muscle memory. Someone asks you like, well, this is what we do. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, I don't realize I say that all now.
Exactly. So make sure that if you want to contact us at the Gonna Geek Podcast, call us at 567-343. No, I'm not going to do that. But I heard a rumor on the street there, Peter, that you met your co-host through an interesting method. What's that about?
Yeah, pretty much we have like a group of friends, and like friend of a friend of ours named Pete, not me, but a different Pete. He ended up setting my friend up to get onto the show Comic Book Men. He was on season 2. It was the episode where he came on to buy a copy of Green Lantern 76, the first, the Neil Adams run, yada, yada, yada. He went on for that. And the funniest thing is Tim and I have gone to shows since, and he still can't get that book. And there was one time he almost did get it. He's like, yeah, he said to his wife, he's like, yeah, I'm going to buy it for like $200. And his wife says, why? Well, why didn't you? He's like, damn it, I should have.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, but I was on season 3, and I was the guy. If you've seen the show, I'm the guy that sells the perverted Punisher action figure. That's all I'm going to say. So,
yes, I remember that. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's great. I had no idea.
Yeah, it was like I still get that from Mike and Ming when I go to the store. Well, like whenever I stop by, like I ended up hearing from Zapsik. He's like, please don't bring any more toys here ever again.
That's fantastic.
That's funny. Interesting story with that, or similar story. I guess not even a similar story. It's just a funny connection. Back when we ran the comic book website, before the show actually came on, when they were doing the casting and trying to get all of the different people to come in and try to sell their stuff and whatnot for the first season, they had ended up messaging us over at Fanboy Buzz, trying to put a call out to all of our audience about whether or not they were in the area and had some cool things they were looking to sell and stuff. So small world, Comic Book Men. That's the bottom line. Comic Book Men connects everybody.
Oh yeah, like I mean, in the tri-state area, like I'm from New York State, so like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, I've run into so many different people who have been on the show, like over the past 5 seasons, like past 4 seasons at least, So it's really crazy.
That's cool.
Is the show still running?
Yep.
It is.
Yep.
It's after The Walking Dead.
Yeah, they
new episodes.
They premiered season 5, I want to say last weekend, with a double shot episode.
Yep. Exactly. Right after Walking Dead, right after Talking Dead, that's their lead in. So they get a pretty good lead in, and it's targeted pretty well towards people that are going to want to watch that show.
Oh, yeah.
Most definitely. I know I've talked to some critics over the years, but do I sit there and watch it from week to week and sit there eagerly waiting? No, but do I let them build up a couple weeks at a time and then go through and watch them? Yes, I do. I enjoy it overall, and you see some neat things that I actually had no idea existed, such as certain perverse action figure things. So
I think you have to find another one like that just to take in a screw with them now.
I've always wanted to get my hands on to sell the Batman water gun. Have you ever seen that one?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Water gun, yeah.
That's fun. So anything else you want to go ahead and talk about in regards to the Audibly Exquisite podcast, or yourself, or just talk about your co-host while he's not here to defend himself?
No. I think that really about wraps it up, honestly. Like, we're going to have a new episode. I want to say either this week or next week. We were supposed to do one today, but Mike came down with the flu, so we weren't able to do anything. And I just got over con plague.
It's not related to the con crud from New York Comic Con, though.
Oh, honestly, it might have been.
No.
Yeah, I still know people that are, coming down with the flu from, that have been to that show. So
I had no idea it was as big as it was. It's over 150,000 people. Wow.
They said it was 167, and yeah, like I could definitely tell by Sunday at least what I was, had all my clothing with me in a book bag, and I was essentially cosplaying as a turtle, getting bumped into every single person on the con floor. So.
Oh man. JS, you and I almost met up there once. Well, tried to arrange that.
Yeah, we tried. Yeah. Maybe, one time, it'll happen. Mm-hmm. But it'll probably be me coming to BC or something like that.
We will.
Swing to your place. But that $150 ferry ride. Yep,
exactly. And not to mention the $150 a night board that I will charge you. So there you go.
It's okay. I'll take a poop in your Wi-Fi car.
Well, Peter.
More highbrow entertainment from the GonnaGeek.com podcast.
Well, Peter, thank you very much for joining us tonight on this.
Thank you.
Before we go, I have one last question for you. Can the listeners of this podcast expect you to be via telephone on the Audibly Exquisite podcast?
No.
No blog talk radio for you, huh?
Oh, God. I've had blog talk nightmares. Dear Lord. Awful.
So that's a sign you're becoming a more seasoned podcaster when you have nightmares about podcasting stuff. Because I literally had some this last weekend. It was like editing hell and live streaming hell. And I woke up like, oh my God, what just happened?
So it wasn't podcast related, but I sent SP a message on Sunday. I kid you not. I went down to my computer and I had this moment of like, oh, I got to go edit the header on Gonna Geek to do some stuff. I'm like, wait, I already did that. And then I'm like, no, I dreamt about that last night. That's right. Dreaming about coding the Gonna Geek website. That's what I do.
That's nuts, man.
Yeah, I know.
I get that sometimes where I've been playing Marvel Puzzle Quest.
Okay.
And like I dream the hell out of Marvel Puzzle Quest, and it makes me feel ill because you kind of like know you're dreaming, but you know you're not dreaming, kind of thing. Like you're not sure. And it's horrible. It's like a drug haze.
That's funny. But listener, make sure you do check out the Audibly Exquisite podcast, now available on GonnaGeek.com. Make sure you check it out and say hi. Say hi to the boys when you go over on a post, comment on the post, and make sure you subscribe. So do you got anything that you want to go ahead and plug before you go there, Peter?
We got Twitter, we got Facebook. You can find us collectively at the AE Podcast and at facebook.com/Audibly Exquisite. And you can find Mike at Mike_Noren, and you can find myself at Peter Melnick, PeterMelnick. And Mike is Noren.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we look forward to hearing what you guys got in store over on the Audibly Exquisite Podcast. This week in Geek Back, we asked a very, very important question, and the question was, how excited are you about Canadian politics? No, that's not what we asked. We asked, how many times have you watched this Star Wars trailer? Now, a little bit of back information here, backstory before I do move on here. Last week after the show, we were done for about 10-15 minutes, and then the Star Wars trailer hit, and three of us all sat together. We pulled it up on our individual respective TVs and just loved it. And we geeked out together. So we felt the chills. We knew that the internet was going to feel the chills. And sure enough, it has. So we did ask that question. Cajun_Sean said, unsure. I keep watching the Supercut trailer. Now, I am not actually familiar with that. Are you guys familiar with it?
Yeah.
It's a mix of the first and the second trailer.
Ah, that's cool. Very, very neat. Very, very neat. We had how do you say this guy's name? Soon Coast. No, sorry, Suncast. He said 3. You could try a little harder on that next time, please, Suncast. Then we had Becky Young say 8. And over on Facebook, we had Lou say 10. Let's go around the table here. Let's start with you, SP. How many times have you watched?
Oh, at least 12. I mean, after we watched it live on the ESPN feed, I watched it a few times before I went to bed, and then I watched it with every single person in the house individually like 3 times. So around 12 to 15.
That's cool, man.
That's cool. That's cool. How about you, Chris?
It's probably 20 plus at this point in time. I haven't really kept paying attention, but we watched it live on here, and we missed a huge opportunity to record our reactions to it live. We should have done it in hindsight because it's been fun. But after we got done recording, I went upstairs and threw it on the Chromecast, watched it through a couple times, and then I started scrubbing through. I'm like, did I see what I thought I saw? And started pausing the video in different places, trying to see different little things I might be able to pull out of the screenshots.
Did you notice that Han is still a commander?
Yes, did you also see Boba Fett's Mandalorian crest is there in the movie too?
Oh, yes. I didn't know that. Huh?
There's so many cool little Easter eggs. We talked a lot about it on ATGN this weekend because that's all I did was talk about Star Wars because, guys, this is bad. I'm super, super hooked on it, and I kid you not, I generally either come home from work or wake up in the morning, and one of the things I do is like, I should watch that trailer as I'm getting ready, or I should watch that trailer once I get home, and I've had to fight doing it. I'm really, really scared because this movie could absolutely crush me now because I'm so excited. And if it's bad, I don't know how I'm going to recover from this as a Star Wars fan.
JS, how about yourself?
I think I watched it 4 or 5 times. I'm watching it when I'm seeing it appear somewhere. Like I'm not actively searching it. But I've watched it a couple of times. I've watched it with the girlfriend. I've watched it obviously a couple of times after. I think 2 or 3 times after when it aired, and then I watched it the following day. So I'm not really counting, but I'm not actively like hunting the trailer down.
I've watched it. I would guess somewhere in the neighborhood of 10. That's where I'm sitting at about. So,
but have you had your kids watch it?
No, I have not because they have no attention span. So There you go.
No, because I was really curious to hear what your kids would think of it compared to us as adults who feel like children watching it again.
Well, he's 3, so probably going to like it. Like it.
That's true.
Yeah. My kids are older, but they all loved it.
Is it going to be kind of what they did with episode 1 and make it super kid friendly, or are they actually going to make it Star Wars episode 4?
It's J.J. Abrams, so he didn't really make the Star Trek movies super kid-friendly, so I'm guessing we're going more
but
the flavor.
Star Trek was never really kid-friendly, though.
I don't know.
Right?
I think he's going to go the route of episode 4. I mean, look at all the other things he's done, like a ton more practical effects versus special effects and things like that. He's trying to go back to the Star Wars he remembers watching when he was a kid. So my guess is it's not going to be geared towards kids, but kids can still watch it like the original trilogy. Well, the first 2 movies in the original trilogy. Return of the Jedi was geared towards kids.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking too.
Before we
Suncast
move
in the
off this-
chat though did
Go
ask
ahead.
who has advanced tickets.
Advance tickets.
This guy.
No advance tickets.
I have not purchased any tickets because I don't like Star Wars. So there you go. That's a lie.
You love
That's a
episode
lie.
1 though. You and Jar Jar Binks are like pretty tight.
I don't know if this is good to admit or not, but I don't need to purchase advance tickets because our local theaters are going to have enough seats. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, mine too. Mine. I think the opening night is sold out, but the following day is not sold out at all.
Yeah, I'd have to have a look. Like I saw a couple people on my Facebook say that they bought tickets, but I don't know that it was needed because that's the same sort of thing that we have here. Generally, don't get the waits. Maybe I won't get into the first showing. Don't really care.
There's just so many screens available in my area, and there's just so many people that would want to go see it in my area. Yes, there'll be a lot of screens, and yes, the theaters will be packed, but I will get tickets. It's not like I'm going to be sold out.
Plus, Chris really did waste his money because I heard a rumor that Suncast and the rest of the GFQ network was going to fly all four of us out for a live podcast about it. I heard they were flying us out to New York.
I actually heard it was going to be on Netflix.
I didn't pay for it. The girlfriend paid for these tickets, so I'm good. The question is, are you guys going to go see it in IMAX, or are you fine with just the traditional theater experience?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I want to do the IMAX eventually.
Okay, so here's my big thing about what I want to do, which is going to be a problem. I really, really, really do not want anything to do with 3D in this movie.
Oh, I agree.
So if there's an IMAX showing without 3D, I will see it in IMAX. But if it's 3D, I literally can't. I can't watch it. So it's an eye issue I have in my right eye, and it's not a secret. I'm not trying to hide it or anything, but I literally cannot watch 3D.
From the old Borg implants. Is that where that's from?
Well, let's just... I don't want to talk about the Borg. I want to talk about Star Wars premiere weekend and how much Haley is probably going to win that stupid GonnaGeek.com bet.
Yeah, I think so. Anybody got anything else to talk about with Star Wars before we do wrap up the subject? Chris?
I shouldn't talk about it anymore.
He's going to be dreaming about it tonight.
Well,
Better
then,
that than podcast dreams.
that's true. Or coding.
Oh, I've had coding dreams. Okay, quick aside. When I was in college, I actually had a coding dream. I woke up at 3 a.m. and I'm like, this project I've been trying to figure out for a week. I know how to do it. So I woke up at 3 a.m. and power coded for like 45 minutes, sent it to my professor at like 4 a.m. and got an email back at 8 a.m. and goes, hey, that's really good. And I was like, yes! Dream coding works.
That's
And
awesome.
I may or may not have gone out to the bar that night with my friends. So it was also alcohol-fueled dream coding potentially.
That's great. Phenomenal. But that's going to go ahead and bring us towards the end of tonight's program. I'm going to go ahead and start off with the plugs and remind everybody that we do have an abundance of geeky podcasts on GonnaGeek.com, including several to do with television shows. So please do check out the GonnaGeek.com website and the rest of the network, because there is a ton of amazing content there. Chris, do you have anything that you would like to talk about?
That's what I always talk about, is all the content there. You stole my typical punchline, so I have nothing. Because you took it from me.
I did. SP?
If you haven't heard about it already, I have a spin-off of the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast. It's called Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Long Box Edition. It takes the comic book segments that we do in Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it just compresses them into a micro podcast. So you can go get that on iTunes or wherever you do download your podcasts. You can go ahead and hook that up and listen to Neil, Lauren, and Adam talk about Marvel Comics.
Awesome. JS, anything you got?
No, I'm actively playing some Guild Wars 2, so if anybody wants to come and join me on the online community and kill some some beasts and trolls and things like that, I guess hit me up on the internet.
All right. Bestiality, seek JS. That's what we learned.
That's what we do in Quebec.
Awesome. I'm glad you admitted it. I got nothing else for episode 118 of the GonnaGeek.com podcast. Peter, thank you for coming on earlier, and welcome to the Gonna Geek Network.
I don't know how to follow up on JS's joke earlier.
I'm Stargate Pioneer.
And I'm the French-Canadian sensation.
Happy Halloween. Bye.
From everyone here at the GonnaGeek.com podcast, thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes. We encourage you to send your feedback by email to podcast@GonnaGeek.com. You can find all of our show history at GonnaGeek.com/official-podcast. And while you're there, why not head over and check out all of the geeky podcasts on the Gonna Geek Network. The music heard on this show is by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again next week.